And he asked you to marry him?
Well, he swept me off my feet with presents and, what did I know about that kind of life? I'm just a starving actress from Boulder, Colorado. I had another bad marriage behind me. That's another reason she hates me.
Who?
Eleanor, Tom's mother. She wants him to marry this girl named Olivia, who I think is a distant cousin. I don't know. It's sick. It's such an inbred family.
And was it love at first sight for you too?
I thought he was very handsome. And I told you I was overwhelmed with attention. So what about you and Chloe?
She's very sweet.
Oh. She is very sweet. And she wants to marry you.
I don't think her mother would approve of that either.
No, it's different. I don't buy into Eleanor, and she knows it, but you are being groomed. You mark my words. They almost died when they thought that Chloe had run off with some guy that ran a gastropub in the city. You're gonna do very well for yourself, unless you blow it.
And how am I going to blow it?
By making a pass at me.
And what makes you think that's going to happen?
Men always seem to wonder. They think I'd be something very special.
And are you?
Well, no one's ever asked for their money back.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Thank you for listening to the McJeffrey 500. This is the podcast where I count down my 500 favorite films and then make my friends watch them one movie at a time. It is December 9th, 2015. Mr. Scott, last podcast of the year. How are you, good sir?
I'm doing well.
That's excellent.
When you said you were going to count them down one movie at a time, I thought the entirety of this podcast was going to be you literally counting down from 500.
That would probably make for an exceptionally boring podcast if I'm just counting them down like so. But nope. I look back and I see that this year, basically after this one, we have two more, and then we have completed 50 films. And I gotta say, not toot my own horn, kind of proud of myself.
Toot on it.
All right.
You're gonna be tootin'?
I'll be a rootin' and a tootin'.
You're gonna be like the IHOP Rooty Tooty, fresh and fruity breakfast.
Yeah, emphasis on the fruity.
Or like on the Home Shopping Network in the 1980s and 90s, Tootie, when you had the bargain was coming up. Oh, we got a Tootie.
When was the peak time what was the peak era for Home Shopping Network? The comic book boom for me was arresting television. And that was right before the Beanie Babies, which that was also fun to watch.
Baseball cards are what started my romance with the Home Shopping Network.
Maybe opening up some Fleers.
Well, I didn't order anything from it.
No, of course, I never ordered anything.
No, but who had the money? Like senior citizens, I think, trying to compete for their grandchildren's affection. Maybe they had money for the Home Shopping Network. I mean, it was before the internet, and catalog shopping was the rage.
Well,
we were a catalog family. We weren't a home shopping network family.
No, I'm neither here. But some really arresting television. I remember autographed copies of, what's it, Magnus Robot Fighter? Was it Jim Shooter?
Pete Valiant?
It was autographed copies of Magnus Robot Fighter, and they were very excited about it.
Some people have a soft spot for those early Valiant books.
You know what, for a moment there, they were because Valiant came out around the same time as Image, right?
Yeah, it was shortly after, I want to say, when the exodus from the big two comic companies happened.
And Valiant was more of a, we have the stories and Image has the pictures.
Yeah, but Valiant, their big thing was that they were repurposing a lot of the Charlton and Gold Key characters.
Yeah, so you had your Magnus Robot Fighter and
Solar, Man of the Atom.
So basically anything that DC was like, nah, we're good.
Yeah.
Because then DC take like the Blue Beetle and Question
and turn them into the Watchmen, yes.
Yes, good times. Yeah, so I could reflect. That could be a whole podcast on Home Shopping Network. But let's digress a bit.
But I can't tell you about my one Home Shopping Network story, and then we'll move on.
Do it.
1989,
That's
October, specifically October 17th.
Okay.
Big day in the Bay Area because that was the day the earthquake happened.
Oh, yes, it was.
And I was a wreck. I was 8 years old. And nothing could... I think the worst part of the 1989 Loma Prieta earthquake was, in fact, not the earthquake itself.
Yeah.
The main earthquake. It was the aftershocks, because you didn't know when those were coming, and you just thought everything was going to be terrible.
Sure.
The only thing that would, calm me down once the power came back on and make me feel not as afraid, watching the Home Shopping Network, because it wasn't the news. And it wasn't anything, violent or upsetting. All I could watch was the Home Shopping Network on Channel 66.
Over enthusiasm over some Dawn Russ.
I was just like, this is the most boring thing I could possibly watch, and that was how I soothed myself. That's how an 8-year-old soothes himself.
I can see that.
When in the absence of guidance as to what's going on. So I hope that. If, God forbid, anything terrible ever happens again, that Home Shopping Network will be there for my family.
I can't see them not, because they are still with us in one form or another.
There's going to be cockroaches, Twinkies, and the Home Shopping Network.
For
when
sure.
it all
I'm
goes
still
down.
not going to buy anything. Never.
So moving on.
All right. So since this is your last podcast, 2015, we're going to take a moment to reflect briefly on the films that you saw. We did Paul's a couple weeks ago because he got to end his year early. So let me pull this.
Premature termination.
Yeah, well, he just I think his movies were a little top heavy, and then just went there. So we started. We did do the test one, which
the test one was American Graffiti.
American Graffiti, which Smack Graffiti is fun. Do you remember the first official one?
It was either U-Turn.
That was the second. We drank something for the podcast.
It was the brown sauce. That was intermission.
Intermission.
Yeah.
Yes, brown sauce and coffee.
That's a solid starter.
Yeah, it was fun. That was when I was like, I have these big ideas, what I want to do. And let's start with drinking coffee with brown sauce. Whoa! All right.
We were at a different house back then. We were in a different county.
Oh, indeed. It was a different time.
And I don't think there was a baby.
And I believe the mic work in that podcast may have been particularly terrible.
No, a lot of podcasts that I listened to the early episodes, it sounds like they were recorded in a bus terminal. Oh. Yours was one of the few that started out pretty solid as far as the audio quality.
Well, that's good to know.
I think the only thing that changed between that podcast and some of the subsequent ones was that you figured out how to make it a more omnidirectional.
Yeah, I put it omnidirectional and never looked back.
Yeah.
And that's basically my move. And then we went from there. We did, and I'm going to leave out the group ones because you were at a lot of those.
Gremlins.
Gremlins was right before U-Turn, which Yeah, it was fun. I'm trying to think if there was one in the... You're gonna reveal to me if there was a movie you genuinely disliked that we watched. Then we went to your work and watched Midnight Madness.
I was going to say that was the next one. I really enjoyed that one.
That was fun. And then you took some time off because you...
I was on sabbatical.
Yes, a child came to the world. And we didn't see you for, well,
10 to 15 episodes.
well, until
I think I should have
near the end of
group
May.
Podcasts.
And we watched Yuli's Gold.
That was a good one.
Yeah, that was fun.
I feel like this is like the Chris Farley show at this point. We're like, oh yeah, Yuli's Gold. That was great.
It was a fun.
You remember the part where Yuli, talked about he and the bees having an understanding.
That was radical. That was awesome.
And that, oddly enough, has been like one of the most listened to podcasts where I think people actually...
Because the word booty is in the title.
Yeah. Show the baddies where the booty is.
Yes. So, I'm trying to ignore the fact that it's the title, and I really want to believe it's the quality of the podcast. Actually, I can name the one that you were not crazy about, because it was the next one, because we technically didn't get around to watching it. It was Schenectady, New York.
And we never followed up on the conversation about it.
We did, and we said we were.
Because after that, I sat down and I actually watched it, and I liked it a lot more this time.
Okay, excellent.
And I understood why it was ranked as high as it was.
Okay.
It did a lot of things very well. A lot of the comedy that, because the first time I watched it, I was so tired, I couldn't remember a lot of what happened. This time, I was awake, I was paying attention, I was focused, and I caught all the subtle comedy.
Excellent.
Definitely, I'm sure I've seen worse Philip Seymour Hoffman movies.
Yeah, if you saw Long Came Polly.
No, but I think it's on my list to
watch.
watch.
That's not even fair, because he's possibly the best thing about the movie. Twister, but then again, he's not bad, Twister. I mean, he's been in not great movies, but he's never been the reason why they're not great. Then we brought it down a bit. We saw One Day in September. I think this is
That may have been the low point.
This is the dark period. We saw One Day in September, which was the Munich Olympics hostage crisis. And then we saw Born on 4th of July.
Yeah, another...
More Vietnam...
trauma.
Yeah. And then we saw...
Drama.
But then we saw Young Girl of Rochefort.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there you go. French.
That was a winner and participated.
Indeed. Hey.
She's in the back handling a pizza.
And then there was Kurt and Courtney. Brought it back down again.
Yep.
Ryan in particular.
That's how I felt, Ryan.
I think Ryan actually commented on that one back in the day as well. So he just brought back some memories.
He apparently is seeking more pita chips.
Who doesn't? Over there we saw... had to move a lot of things around. You were supposed to actually see True Grit. But I again...
Kind of disappointed I didn't get to see that one.
Well, Lily enjoyed it. And then Paul was supposed to see...
Whisper of the Heart.
Whisper of the Heart, which you saw, and in his place, Paul saw Bad Lieutenant Port called New Orleans. So it was a little mixed up, but you got the Whisper of the Heart.
Musical chairs. I'm happy we got Whisper of the Heart. It was harmless.
All right,
there you go.
And that's us all caught up. Of course, you saw a few group ones here and there.
Gremlins, Toy Story 3.
Great. That was
Return of the Jedi.
Spider-Man 2.
A lot of sequels in those. What was the other one?
No, we're leaving one out. Were you there for the others?
Yes.
Okay. That was probably it then. Yep.
It was a good year.
Yeah, it's not bad.
If reflecting on the movies I saw this year with you, most of which were movies I saw for the first time.
Yes.
You did pretty well.
Thank you. And they're only going to get better. Well, I mean, you know what you're seeing because we actually did our little draft. So, and I think it's a combination of stuff you have legitimately seen and stuff that I'm sure you're curious enough to see.
Yes.
I think everyone was actually happy with their results, so I'm glad to see that. So,
it was like you gave us our Christmas gift early.
I figured.
Or Hanukkah.
Indeed.
Or Kwanzaa.
Or Festivus for the rest of us.
Yes. Maybe even an early Tet.
All right, we got about 3 minutes. Do you want to just tell me some stuff that you've seen without me?
Yes, I have seen, I believe, 6 movies.
All right.
The first of which was Bad Words with Jason Bateman.
Oh, how was that?
I really liked it.
It got some decent reviews, but it kind of came and went.
It was one of those movies that flew under the radar. Had Catherine Hahn in it, who I'd seen in, I believe, The Goods, Live Hard, Sell Hard.
Oh my god!
And she's a character actress. Really good. Basically, the premise of it is Jason Bateman is a grown-ass man who goes to compete in a spelling bee for children. And that's how the children end up feeling. And he, really good characterization. I'd say the movie...
Ryan,
Yeah.
not a big fan.
You need more pita chips, bud?
Ryan, there's only so many pita chips, man.
The movie I would compare it most to would be Dutch with Ed O'Neill.
You know what? I'm a big fan of Dutch.
I didn't like Dutch. I saw it.
What?
It was a movie. It was the last movie I saw as a single man. Was Dutch.
Interesting.
And was not the movie I wanted to. It was not the movie I hoped it would be.
All right.
I thought it was going to be much more clever than it was.
You know what? Here's the thing. I haven't seen Dutch since I was like 12. But I saw it in my mom let me pick the movie, and I was a big Married with Children fan, so I was like, ooh, it's Al Bundy. He's in a movie.
Yeah, not thick enough. Ed O'Neill's greatest cinematic performance for me still as Glenn from Stan Mikita's Donuts in Wayne's World.
That is actually a pretty good one. I was going to say, I also saw Sibling Rivalry, the Kirstie Alley movie, which was... I also think I had Ed O'Neill, so I don't know why I was on this Ed O'Neill kick. Like, Ed O'Neill is like the end-all, be-all, but I really, really like Married with Children.
He's a good actor.
And he's a great actor.
He's great on Modern Family.
I love Modern Family when I watch it. It's one of those shows I don't go on my way to watch television, but if I'm, like, dog sitting and I start flipping, like, oh, Modern Family, I'll watch this. That's a compliment.
But yeah, Bad Words, probably the best movie I've watched in, like, the last, 3 months.
Sorry, Whisper of the Heart.
I only got 4 hours of sleep last Saturday, and then decided that it'd be a great idea to watch St. Vincent with Bill Murray, Melissa McCarthy, and apparently Naomi Watts was in it.
She was.
Did she play the Russian?
She played a Russian prostitute or stripper. Yeah, that's a classic example of a movie I really want to like more than I did.
It wasn't bad.
Okay.
I enjoyed it, but by the end of it, I was so tired. And then he started crying, and it's a tender movie. I came into the room because he was crying, and I knew that I was supposed to be.
When he shows up to school,
I knew that I was supposed to be capable and ready to help take care of my child, and I was just a wreck because I'd only gotten 4 hours of sleep. So I was just sobbing uncontrollably. And Anne, because she's a good wife, said, "What is wrong with you? Go to sleep." And then let me sleep another 4 hours. So she, save of the day, goes to my wife.
Yeah, bless her.
But yeah, good movie. Very subtle. It was nice seeing Melissa McCarthy outside of what she
was kind of playing a
typecast.
straight character in this. Yeah, Ryan.
Ryan, you have to eat this food. You can't just drop it on your lap and then be upset when it's not in your mouth.
Oh, now we know why the dogs are near the feet.
Now you know why the dogs love him so much. But yeah, St. Vincent was good. I watched Ride Along with Ice Cube and Kevin Hart. I'm not the biggest Kevin Hart fan.
I don't like Kevin Hart movies, but I like Kevin Hart. I don't mind his stand-up.
I've only seen one of his stand-up specials, and it didn't blow me away. Maybe I started with the wrong one.
I don't know. He's manic. He's got the energy, but his movies are... I saw The Wedding Ringer this year, because I made a mistake of laying the date pick. And that's... I've been on many dates, but it's like if you go on a first date and you go to a movie and the movie's bad, there is rarely ever a second date. This is what I've learned in life. That's why I should pick.
Ride Along, I will say, better than 48 Hours as far as buddy cop films go.
Really? I actually find 48 Hours overrated, so I'm listening.
I'd say, like, that's probably, like, Whoa. That and Lethal Weapon are probably like the standards for buddy cop movies.
Oh, sure.
Then I'm like, okay, better or worse than. So I'm trying to think of a buddy cop film that's worse than 48 Hours.
Loose Cannons with Pat
Yes.
Morita and Jay Leno.
No, Loose Cannons was the one
Oh,
with
that's
Dan
Gene
Aykroyd.
Hackman and Dan Aykroyd.
Yeah.
What's the one with Jay Leno and Pat Morita?
I didn't even
I'm looking
know
it
that
up.
existed.
Please keep talking.
But yeah, I mean, I guess it's not a buddy cop film, but Midnight Run.
Oh, I love Midnight
I
Run.
put that in like I would say that's like slightly better than 48 Hours.
I would agree.
But I don't know what really bad, but no, I haven't seen Pain and
You
Gain.
like the Rush Hour movies?
I love the Rush Hour movies.
Okay. Oh, there are bad buddy cop movies. There has to be terrible ones. Cop and a Half.
Yeah, Cop and a Half was a terrible buddy cop movie. Stop or My Mom Will Shoot. Terrible buddy cop movie.
I saw it as a kid and hated it.
I haven't seen Turner and Hooch.
Collision Course. That's the name of the Pat Morita Jay Leno movie. Are you familiar with this film?
No, but
It's real.
I need to see it so
No,
hard.
You
right
really don't.
And then the last two movies that I saw, I can thank my wife Anne for, because she added, I counted last night, over 16 Hallmark movies to the DVR.
And
They're all Christmas.
And they're all Hallmark Christmas movies.
all right, which ones did you?
Two of them. Ice Sculpture Christmas, starring
that sounds like it's a winner.
starring not Rachel Bilson, Rachel Boston.
Who?
Exactly. It doesn't matter what her name is. Much like The Rock said time and time
It
again.
doesn't matter.
It just does not matter. But it was amazing.
What?
It was fantastic. It was one of those Hallmark movies that, I mean, they're all, like, if you're lucky, they're all rom-coms. They're all someone who finds the true meaning of family, Christmas.
They're all variations of a Christmas Carol.
You know, work-life balance. You know, they all find themselves, and usually it's, you know, someone like Candace Cameron Bure or Lacey Chabert.
Oh, Lacey Chabert. I'm happy to see her.
This one, Andy, you want to give the rundown of what Ice Sculpture Christmas was about?
Oh, I'm terrible at movie synopsis.
Okay, a quick rundown. The star of the movie, Rachel Boston, plays a young would-be chef. She's finished culinary school, can't get a job.
I'm sure she's frustrated.
Can't get a job straight into a kitchen, so she starts from the ground up. But there's a twist.
Oh?
She gets her first job at the resort. The ski. I don't know if it's. I'm assuming it's a ski resort. It's some sort of resort.
Okay.
Where her father has worked since she was a little girl.
Oh?
And when she's a little girl, she meets a boy
What?
who happens to be the heir to the resort.
Oh my god.
So she gets the job as the dishwasher,
Oh.
and says she's gonna pull herself up by her bootstraps.
Does she?
She does.
What is the thing that she cooks that is the amazing thing that blows everyone away?
Oh, it's not cooking. This is the twist.
Oh?
She proves herself by being the greatest ice sculptor.
Wait!
And she pitches in when they need a hand without being asked.
Yes.
Oh.
So it really teaches, be there, show up,
Be selfless.
show
But
up
the
on.
real villain takeaway from this movie is if someone is special, remind them that the specials change daily.
Oh my god.
The villain. I should give some context to that. The villain of the movie is the evil sous chef who wants to
Keep her down?
become a higher up chef in the ranks, and she can't stand the main character.
And she'll stop at nothing.
She'll stop at absolutely nothing. She calls her in on her day off.
Oh my god, it's her day off. She must be exhausted.
Well, she has to carve the ice sculpture the next day.
Was it beautiful?
It was her ice sculptures were really subpar, and the one that was supposed to be the showstopper, she would have been lucky. I mean, if it hadn't been for the intervention of the evil Jen, she would have been like a C plus.
What was it? Was it a ballerina?
No, it was like Santa Claus's head.
On a platter?
No, not like John the Baptist. Jesus Christ.
Santa the Baptist.
But the actress who played Jen, I found out, is actually one of the villainous characters on the TV show iZombie, which I really like, and I didn't realize it at the time. I was like, that's why she's so convincing.
She's such a chameleon, that one. All right, movie number 2.
'Tis the Season for Love with Sarah Lancaster of Chuck fame. I can't even remember what the movie was. Oh, she was an actress.
It was about love.
Was
she an actress? Was she busy all the time?
This is where Hallmark gets edgy, because she's an actress, and she's really hoping to get a part in it. Choose a director on Broadway that you would know. Who would be the last one you would expect to be in a Hallmark
Andrew
movie?
Lloyd Webber.
Yeah, you would think that. Or like, who did Les Mis? Is that Andrew Lloyd Webber also?
Let's just say yes.
Okay. No, she needs to get a part in a David Mamet play.
Oh, what? Oh, does this movie have saucy language in it?
No. I was just like...
She chooses her small town roots over her potential big town break.
She
which is always a mistake, may I add right now.
So
they never show you what happens 6 months later. Like, I regret everything.
And that's pretty much what
They do. She has twins. She has twin boys.
Oh, that's right.
With the head of the fire department.
Oh my god! They domesticated her. All her dreams
they
shattered.
They just neutered. They absolutely neutered.
So it's a tragedy. That's so sad.
When you think about it.
Did she always want to have kids?
So Ice Sculpture Christmas
I don't know, actually.
Ice Sculpture Christmas finished like about 1,000 places above most Hallmark movies.
Okay.
Because I ended up like ranking like about like four or five of them that we'd watched. Of course, I'm the one who adds it to Flick Chart because I want to get credit for watching a Hallmark movie.
I did the same thing when I watched. It was on the Hallmark Channel. It was on. It was Lifetime. I watched a Social Nightmare about cyberbullying.
You deserve credit for that.
I
right?
did, and I Flick Charted. I believe I'm the only one who has. All right. I wish I can come back every week to get more synopsis on Hollywood.
Well, we have 16 more Christmas movies.
You're not
to
watching
watch.
them all, are you?
She started watching Fur Crazy without me. Another Sarah Lancaster movie,
Good old
which had Colin Mockery from Whose Line Is It Anyway as the villain of the movie.
He's a villain you can't really take seriously.
Yeah, but he really puts it over. So,
Oh, well,
anyway,
it's a good time.
what do we have this week?
All right, your final movie of 2015.
Please don't be a downer.
Well, let's see. I'll read the description. In this suspenseful drama from writer-director Woody Allen, an ambitious tennis pro gets mixed up with the darker side of high society, and when the walls begin to close in, he considers taking desperate steps. What are we about to watch?
I have no idea, but I'm interested.
We are going to watch... I should have the picture ready. I'm having to gain it right now. We are about to watch... Match Point.
Oh, okay. I've heard of this.
All right. Well, that's a start. And we will be right back, ladies and germs.
The man who said I'd rather be lucky than good saw deeply into life.
Oh my god. It's huge. We're going to get lost in here.
Yeah, look at you, man.
See you.
Yeah, it looks like you're doing all right for yourself, aren't you?
I got married. Very nice. Family's got nothing but money.
He saw me across the room and he honed in on me like a guided missile.
Chris? There you are.
Just say your phone. Please.
We never seem to find peace.
You know it's been over a week since we made love.
Chloe and Bee.
You did very well for yourself. Unless you blow it.
And how am I going to blow it?
By making a pass at me.
So you are aware of your effect on men.
I think I'd be something very special.
And are you?
Well, no one's ever asked for their money back. This was a good idea. You shouldn't have followed me here.
Do you feel guilty?
Do you?
Are you having an affair?
Of course I'm not. Don't be silly. I don't know what I'd do if I couldn't see you. I mean it.
I don't know what I'm doing with you. You're never gonna leave Chloe.
Maybe I will.
Stop playing games with me.
Keep your voice down. I don't fool myself that I haven't gotten used to a certain kind of living. Am I supposed to give it all up?
You miss me?
Are you mad calling me here?
If you don't have the nerve to do it, I'll do it.
So you're threatening me? If I don't do what you say, you're going to go to my wife.
Hello? Who keeps calling?
You have to protect me. My family, my marriage is at stake.
You lied to me. You're a liar!
You can learn to push the guilt under the rug and go on. Otherwise it overwhelms you.
We have returned. We have finished Woody Allen's Match Point, a movie that came out in the last decade, and a couple things that are different. That doesn't stand out as your typical Woody Allen film, you know. And it's not because he's not in it, because, you know, half of his films he's usually behind the camera and not in front of it. This is decidedly a more serious film. I mean, it has a couple stray...
It really doesn't get into Woody Allen territory, I would say, until... I mean, there are the general things about Woody Allen movies that are there. Usually there's at least one character who kind of, at some point, starts speaking in the stereotypical Woody Allen cadence.
Yeah.
And his women sound the same, too. And Scarlett Johansson does that as well.
Indeed. But I mean, as far as the textbook Woody Allen character, when it's not Woody Allen, I generally think it's something like what's the one with Owen Wilson, the Midnight in Paris.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's a type, or Celebrity, which was Kenneth Branagh, or Anything Goes, Jason Segel. So there's
Biggs.
or Jason Biggs. Sorry, wrong Jason. So there is usually the archetype of a Woody Allen character, and this one, I mean, mannerisms, it's not as apparent. In fact, this may be the first Woody Allen movie I've ever seen that...
You almost didn't think it was a Woody Allen movie?
Because he always has the beginning credits always look the same, because they always list the cast in alphabetical order.
His soundtracks are usually very similar. He
Yeah.
uses a lot of public domain.
And, older, jazzier or, guitar-driven. In this case, it was operatic. So, if you took out the credits, I probably wouldn't have guessed this Woody Allen movie. Also, the other point is, I could be wrong, but this may have been the first Woody Allen movie set abroad. It wouldn't be the last. But generally his movies do take place in New York, though I don't think that's necessarily a rule, but I believe this is the first one that did not take place in the States. So, it was a departure, and in a sense, the movie was also kind of a resurgence of his career, because prior to this, he was kind of... he had the Small Time Crooks, which I actually really like. Curse of the Black Scorpion, which I also kind of like, and then
Jade Scorpion. Black Scorpion, of course, was Ric Flair.
Okay, so I don't get that twisted. Curse of the Jade Scorpion. I actually enjoyed that movie for as silly as it was. And then there was the one where he's the director who loses his eyesight. Hollywood Ending, I believe it was called. That was terrible. So this was kind of a...
He had some misses.
Yeah, it was, and they were becoming, because Woody Allen typically around that point, especially, him and Spike Lee were always the directors who they always seem to release one movie a year, and Woody Allen, it got more misses than hits. Though, I enjoy a Woody Allen comedy when most of the jokes work. Small Time Crooks is not a masterpiece by any means, but I think it's enjoyable.
It's better than a lot of bad movies.
Yeah. But a lot of it takes... You have to kind of embrace the Woody Allen caricature or the character.
I think Small Time Crooks was the first Woody Allen movie that I was able to get past Woody Allen.
Oh, yeah?
The first Woody Allen movie I liked was Anything Else.
which is interesting. Unseen by me, actually.
And I know that one. I think a lot of people felt that one was a little bit of a commercial cop-out. And it was a much more audience-friendly movie.
Yeah, it didn't perform like one, but I guess you could say he tried to cater to a more mainstream audience. It might have been like because he had to deal with DreamWorks to make a certain amount of films, so maybe it was
and this was a DreamWorks distributed film, so
yes,
I'm assuming this is part of that legacy.
Indeed, it is, and this is the first one he worked with Scarlett Johansson, who would go on to make Scoop, not a very good movie, and Vicky Cristina Barcelona, which
I like saying with the Basque lisp.
Which people really, really like that movie. I'm actually not crazy about that film.
That one got a lot of critical acclaim, as well as got an Oscar nod or two, right?
I believe Cruise got nominated for that one. Penelope Cruz, who is delightful. And Woody Allen does put very alluring women in his films, and that's been pretty much from the get-go.
Although the Mia Farrow era...
Mia Farrow leaves much to be... But even like Mia Farrow was in... I'm trying to think. Was she in Mighty Aphrodite? Well, Mira Sorvino.
Was she in...
she was in Husbands and Wives.
Manhattan Murder Mystery?
Manhattan Murder... Well, no, Manhattan Murder Mystery... Yes, wait, I think that was Diane Keaton, actually. Was it? Or I think maybe they both were in it? I don't know. Didn't see that one.
I saw
There's a lot of holes in my Woody Allen.
The last Woody Allen movie I saw was a Mia Farrow one, and it did virtually nothing for me.
Was it Radio Days?
No, I love Radio Days. That's actually my favorite Woody Allen movie.
Yeah? See, I like... I'm all over the place with Woody Allen, because there's a lot of key ones I haven't seen. I love Manhattan. I actually think Annie Hall's a little overrated, though I do like the film.
I was decidedly anti-Woody Allen for most of my life until...
Was it based on just... Is it more the films or more the person? Because there's a lot of people who can't get past the guy.
And no, it wasn't either, really. It was more the cult of Woody Allen.
Oh, I see.
It's another one of those situations that the fans of certain things can... if someone tells you how brilliant someone is, eventually you develop a little bit of resentment, I think.
Well, growing up in Northern California, I know such, quote unquote clans exist. Woody Allen is a genius, but I know that I don't know these people personally.
You know what I think it is? I think it's maybe because of the fact that we do live on the West Coast. I mean, Woody Allen is the quintessential New York director. With Scorsese, right?
Scorsese. I would even say Spike Lee. He's also
Spike Lee.
They all use New York as much a character as anything.
That's like the holy trinity of New York directors, right?
Sure, yeah, definitely.
The Allen, the Allen, the Allen, the Lee, and the Marty Scorsese.
Yes, and it's and like I said, he's still putting stuff out, and he's always been good at. I think a lot of people are drawn to him, particularly females, because he actually, a lot of females seem to get Oscar noms and wins through his films. Most recently, Cate Blanchett for Blue Jasmine.
And it's really interesting. I mean, I know that the East Coast bias exists for a lot of reasons. In sports, it exists because you have New York on that side of the country. It's the older place. They believe, the world follows them.
Sure.
Which to a certain degree they do. As it goes in New York, the trends pick up in Los Angeles, or, and vice versa.
Sure.
But, I mean, it seemed like a long time ago, the heart of filmmaking moved away from the East Coast to Los Angeles.
Which was probably inevitable.
To Hollywood.
Yeah.
And, Even so, it seems like certain people have hung on, and then it begs the question: Are they old because they're good, or good because they're old?
That is the question. Well, Yeah, I mean, if you were to pull up the filmography of Woody Allen, that would take that's a podcast into itself. But
I mean, that's over 40 movies, right?
At least, I would imagine
he might be over 50 at this point.
At this point, well, he started, and
that's feature length movies.
But I'm sure the consistency of quality is kind of.
There are peaks and valleys, I'm sure.
I mean,
he's had seemingly more hits than misses.
Oh, sure. I mean, I don't think we would be talking about him otherwise. But I came across Woody Allen. I'm trying to think. I think maybe the first film because I knew of Woody Allen. I knew the name Woody Allen. Actually, I think the first thing I ever saw with Woody Allen was Scenes from a Mall, which was not directed by him. It was him and Bette Midler playing a couple in a mall. Did not really enjoy that film. But that was I think my first exposure with it. I think the first film I ever saw strangely, was Everybody Says I Love You, which was a musical with people who half the cast genuinely could not sing, which was an interesting experiment. But it's kind of a charming film, actually. Woody Allen sings in it terribly. But I wasn't really drawn to him. Like I got to see more. But I eventually got to the point where, all right, I got to see Annie Hall, see what this is about. This is the movie that beat Star Wars for Best Picture in 1977. And
the last comedy to win Best Picture nomination.
Is it? Well, not nomination.
No, sorry, not nomination. The last Best Picture win, I believe, was Annie Hall.
It's a good possibility
for a comedy.
Yeah, I mean,
that gap is as glaring as how long it took us to get a second Triple Crown winner in horse racing. If that's the case,
it's kind of ridiculous. But
because now we're in the rut where it seems like the Best Picture at the Oscars. I know that this is going to come back come award season because you are a decided award season film goer.
Well, I do it as
it's you and your mom, right?
Yeah, it's tradition. I actually don't. The Oscars are almost an afterthought at this point. I just like seeing it's me and my mom bonding, watching quality films. And there's a lot of chance it gives me an excuse to see these films, which I generally don't make time for as much as I'd like. But
I mean, what I was getting at was, it seems like lately the film that wins the Best Picture is the film that hits the emotional note, the film that tells puts things in historical perspective.
The thing is, it's hard for me to even recall what's won. I mean, what won last year? 12 Years a Slave? Was that the one?
I think that was 2 years ago.
Oh God, see? Yeah. Exactly.
I mean, it's every now and then I take the quizzes where it's like, name the last 30 Best Pictures.
I think
maybe if I could name 5, I'd be happy.
I mean,
did Gravity win Best Picture at one point?
It did not. It won a lot of technical.
Did that lose to 12 Years a Slave?
I swear 12 Years a Slave won. I don't think it won Best Director.
Was there something with McConaughey last year?
Yeah, he won Best Actor. Well, that was 2 years ago. See, I don't even know. It's sad. I used to be totally on top of all of this stuff, but not so much anymore. But, I know Shakespeare in Love won. I know American Beauty won.
Birdman last year. 12 Years a Slave. Argo.
Okay.
Artist.
Okay.
King's Speech.
Oh, yeah.
Hurt Locker.
Okay.
Slumdog Millionaire.
Not really a bad movie in the bunch, per se.
No Country for Old Men.
Love No Country.
The Departed.
Good song.
Crash. $1 Million Baby.
All right.
Lord of the Rings. Return of the King.
Yeah, that was finally the Cume one.
Chicago, Beautiful Mind, Gladiator, and American Beauty. Going back to 2000. Okay. So those are your last 15 Best Picture winners.
And not a comedy amongst.
No. Let me see if what comedies, because it keeps going back. I mean, Shakespeare in Love.
It's a romance. It's drama. Romantical drama.
Titanic, English Patient, Braveheart, Forrest Gump, Schindler's List, Unforgiven, Silence of the Lambs, Dances with Wolves, Driving Miss Daisy, Rain Man, Last Emperor, Platoon, Out of Africa, Amadeus, Terms of Endearment, Gandhi, Chariots of Fire, Ordinary People, Kramer vs. Kramer, Deer Hunter,
whoa,
and Annie Hall.
There it is.
So
technically a horror movie, if you want to call it Silence of the Lambs as a horror movie, has won more recently than a a comedy.
And who knows what the last comedy was before that?
I have a feeling...
The Sting?
Well, Sting was a caper.
God, Oliver.
That's a musical. Start doing that.
Yeah, pretty much it goes back to just musicals, Sound of Music and My Fair Lady.
Okay.
It's My Fair Lady.
What's the one with Ernest Borgnine?
Marty?
Marty. Would that be a comedy?
No.
That's a drama.
That's just sad.
It's
a man living with his mother, right?
Oh, there's comedic hijinks to be had, I'm sure.
That tugged at the heartstrings.
Ah, okay. Well,
I mean, that was as much of a comedy. Well, I guess The Apartment was kind of a comedy.
All right, yeah. I would construe that The Apartment was a comedy. Did that win Best Picture that year?
No.
Well.
I don't believe so.
I remember Fish Called Wanda got nominated. That was kind of a big deal at the time.
They get nominated, but they don't win. I mean, looking at the last 10 years, most of them have been, biopics, historical, fiction.
Or a combination of both.
The Message picture.
Something based off a beloved book.
Something foreign.
Well, there's always a foreign one there. Though a foreign film hasn't won.
Probably the most popcorn movie that won was Lord of the Rings. And Chicago, that was pretty, friendly.
That was the under the Miramax machine.
I mean, Chicago, maybe you could consider that a comedy to a certain extent.
It's more musical than
but it's a musical more than a comedy.
And I think it's wholly overrated. But that's just me.
But yeah, I mean, it's
so. I mean, that's nothing to be said about that. But as far as this movie goes, I didn't ask you. What'd you think?
It was very. It took me a really long time to come around to it because the characters were so decidedly unlikable. And I mean, there was a point.
Our protagonist was thoroughly.
Jonathan Rhys-Meyers is the male lead in this.
He's kind of pathetic, actually.
Yeah, I mean, I'd only seen him in Velvet Goldmine, really, I think. I mean, where I actually knew it was him acting in the movie. And that movie, wasn't an uplifting movie. And I'd say, a good 90% of this movie didn't seem uplifting to me.
No, I mean...
Until I realized in the last, 20 to 30 minutes of the movie that this was Woody Allen telling... I finally figured out, number one, why this movie was set in England, why he was using the story that he was, that it was, it was him taking his jabs at Shakespeare, it was him taking his jabs at, kind of the classic stories of class warfare in British literature. He took a little bit of Charles Dickens and he rolled it all up into one big... The movie basically ended up being one long joke with a punchline that comes out at the end that when it happened, I couldn't believe that... I felt like such a mark at that point that I was like, oh my god, I fell for this movie so hard.
Well, you did. You said,
I thought I had
it declared that...
I thought I had it figured out. I thought that this was, the smart movies for dumb people. I thought that that's what it was. And then in the end, I was the dumb person. Because it was even smarter than that.
I mean, we could spoil it a bit. I mean, essentially, long story short, Jonathan Rhys-Meyers plays a guy who is married to a woman whose father's well-to-do. And he basically gives him the life that money can't afford. Or actually can't afford, I guess. That's the opposite.
He's a pretender to wealth and sophistication.
Yes.
He lucks into a relationship with a woman who... And this relationship ends up bringing him everything that he wouldn't have been able to otherwise get.
But he's attracted to the American woman who is... Scarlett Johansson, who's fiancé to the brother of his wife. And it's... easy to see why one would be attracted to her. I mean, Scarlett Johansson, for crying out loud, and she's pretty alluring through this whole movie. Though
I kept finding her to be poor man's Cameron Diaz in it.
Oh, that's harsh. That's harsh.
Which is funny when I'm thinking of Cameron Diaz as maybe Scarlett Johansson has really burnt herself out on me.
Really?
I think the Avengers movies really brought her down.
Wow.
And Iron Man. And I'm a comic book fan. And I feel like it took, well, I realized that came after this movie.
Oh, yeah.
This movie was made in 2005.
Yeah, this ScarJo was on her roll at this point. This was like right after Ghost World, Lost in Translation. So people are noticing. And I actually think this is the movie that people like, all right, Scarlett Johansson's for real. Because I think she got most of the press as far as the actors in this film easily.
And granted, she made me hate her as much as anyone in this.
Yeah, I mean, everybody's flawed. Even the people we're supposed to sympathize for. It's like, geez,
you can see the problems in them.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, he has a choice to either lose everything and be with ScarJo. Sorry, I hate calling her that. Nora is her character name.
Is it Nora or Nola?
Nola. I'm sorry, Nola. You're right.
I mean, the British accents in this movie are pretty thick.
Yeah.
So there were
they're also some are, I think, legit.
The first 10 minutes of this movie, Ryan was
very upset.
He wasn't pleased. And it was hard to keep up with the accents at first. So I had to have Jeff do a little back sell on me on what had happened, and then I figured it out.
Mm-hmm. But the fact that I think the ironic tragedy is, no matter what choice he would have chosen, he probably would have been miserable. Mm-hmm. But the fact is, how he gets out of essentially what he gets. I mean, he essentially kills Nora. It's just because she will ruin everything, as opposed to just he could have just gone with her, which it seemed like that's what he really kind of wanted to do, but he was so spineless to tell his wife and lose everything. So it's the life he wanted, and he never seems happy in this movie, unless he's like lusting over Nola, and he's quite pathetic.
And I think the reason the ending of the movie worked so well is that throughout this movie, everybody is just losing. Mm-hmm. Everybody is, not getting what they want. Everything is going wrong. It's a non-comedy comedy of errors until the very end, and then finally,
with the
one
detectives.
thing works out. And not to give it away, but one thing finally works out, and that was when my jaw hit the floor. That I was like, "Are you serious?"
Well, I mean, I think it's kind of the ending's kind of brilliant. Whereas all right, and like I said, this whole movie, we can spoil the hell out of it. I don't care.
Oh, well, I don't know. I mean, I kind of enjoy when leaving the mystery open.
Okay.
It makes it worth.
Well, it does do the thing like you think it's all getting wrapped up in a nice tidy bow, and then something happens.
And I thought I had it figured out, and I thought I was so smart. And I was like, oh god! And then I realized that Woody Allen just treated me like it reminded me of that moment in the biopic Hitchcock, where Alfred Hitchcock, played by Anthony Hopkins, is standing in the lobby while Psycho is being screened.
Just listening to the reactions.
Just listening to the reactions, and it's almost like, okay, this is going to happen here, this is going to happen here. And I just imagine Woody Allen sitting, like, in my living room, judging my record collection. And then all of a sudden, I'm like, oh, I have this figured out, and then I am such an idiot.
Oh, yeah. Well, when I saw it in theaters, I was, I went in knowing what kind of film was going to be kind of a slower pace, so I was braced for that. But the ending was like, I mean, without spoiling, I mean, it's just, he's going to get away with it. Like, this is happening. Like, wow. Like, say la vie. I mean, like I said, but I think at the end, he'll be haunted, I guess. Well, he was haunted. He went to
that was the moment where I was like, oh god, this is Charles Dickens.
Yeah.
It was... There was a surprise. I didn't think that when we got done watching this movie that I was going to have anything to talk about.
And we're doing all right.
And I'm surprised by it. I'm honestly floored that.
Yeah. Well.
But I guess that's why this is a good. This is one of the few times that I'm not asking myself why is this on your list. Mm-hmm. But I guess it's more surprising to me that I was sure about like 2/3 of the way through this movie when Jonathan Rhys-Meyers and Scarlett Johansson's Nola were, when basically the big crux of the problem that ends up for the two characters that I was going to out and out hate the movie from that point on. And I was like, oh god, this is going to be the first one that I really don't like. And honest to God, like 30 seconds changed the entire way that I felt about the movie.
Oh, good.
So I can't remember the last time an ending got me that well.
Yeah, and the thing is, because you don't see it coming. It's not like it's not like a Shyamalan movie where you're waiting for the swerve or the twist or
like this got me more than Kaiser. Well, I mean, I knew the twist on Kaiser Sose.
Somebody ruined that for you.
Well, I mean, the fact that I didn't see it until 2005, probably.
Someone ruined Crying Game for me. I don't know. But you know what's weird? I saw Psycho without actually knowing the twist, and I was actually thoroughly shocked. I was like, how did I get through this far in life without knowing the twist of Psycho? Because I saw Psycho, I think I was 18 when I finally saw it. And I was like, oh my god, she's dead.
I'm trying to think of a movie that actually got me. The Others was a movie that the first time I watched it, that was a movie that...
I did one of those, oh.
But I think that one was more... It got me that I didn't know what was going on until the very end, and when I did, I think I was more angry than anything else, that it had scared me as much as it did leading up to that point, whereas now like I roll my eyes at it because I know what the ending was, but like when I was watching I was like so wrapped in suspense that but
I know well, I mean for me, like because I never read the book, first time seeing Fight Club when you find out that Tyler Durden's one and the same. That was
that one got me.
Like, ooh, crap, I'm gonna have to see this movie again.
Monty Python, The Holy Grail. That ending got me.
When the police show up.
Yes.
Well, they were kind of leading to that, weren't they?
No, I didn't think it was going to end like
that.
End
like that.
And that movie got me so hard that I hung around while the music just kept playing at the end. And I was just like...
How long did that music play after the credits?
Probably like 14 minutes, I think.
Because I remember seeing it in theaters, and I think I stayed through the whole thing.
Yeah.
I mean, when the movie... But, see, it's not like Usual Suspects, which I've never been a big fan of. I like some of the performances, but it's like, it feels like a cheat. It feels like... We just saw a lie. This whole movie was a lie.
The one thing I loved about Usual Suspects was the moment where Kaiser Sose's like handler shows up, Mr. God, it was
Kobayashi.
Yeah, Kobayashi, who shows up like at this one point, and I fell for that character so hard in that movie that I think he was more thrilling to me than Kaiser Sose.
Yeah. Yeah, I have issues with that film, but I think that film actually brought in a new dawn of the twist end, which obviously M. Night Shyamalan made basically made his calling card, and I like a lot of M. Night Shyamalan movies, but never for the twist. I don't really care for the twist.
Well, and I mean, is it really a twist if you see it coming?
I guess. Well, Unbreakable. The quote-unquote twist, or the swerve, if you will, actually kind of ruins the movie for me. It's like, no.
I remember really liking Unbreakable when I saw it finally.
I love it, except for that last scene. I can't stand that last scene.
But I can't even remember what happened at the end.
Well, basically, is Mr. Glass has been causing all this destruction to find, Bruce Willis. Mm-hmm. It's like, really? You've been causing train crashes and, subway whatevers. I guess we should be glad you only caused so many to find your polar opposite. It was such a weak explanation.
It felt trite.
It felt like it just felt like bad writing. Which up to that point I was really totally into everything until the reveal, and the reveal is just hella lame. There's certain movies that are like that, where it's like, you had me. I was seeing just a masterpiece, and then like a movie that will be revealed here next year. I don't know if you saw Sunshine, which will be seen by, I believe, Aaron.
I haven't seen it, but
all right. Well, let's just say the movie's up until the last 20 minutes is almost as flawless as the movie gets, and then the last 20 minutes are just
ends up squandering all the goodwill.
Oh my god, it's just such a pity.
It seems like usually with movies that just ruin the ending for me, it's usually a movie that is tolerable and then just craps all over. We saw The Maze Runner.
Ugh.
And that movie, they seemed like they had, okay, I'll buy it all the way up until like the last 5 minutes of the movie, and then they started kitchen sinking every cliche into the movie that they could, and I was like, oh great.
Did that sequel make any money?
I have no idea,
because I feel like it came and went, so hopefully it
I don't know. I mean, there are so many movies that are of that same ilk right now, that between
young adults,
between your Divergents, your
Hunger Games.
Well, I mean, Hunger Games at least was first to get there on the American side,
I suppose. Divergent for sure.
But yeah, Maze Runner, Divergent.
They're all trying to.
There's another one.
They're all trying to lock into that the Twilight young adult crowd, where it's like, the young adult books are, and same with like what's the one, the Fault in Our Stars, or Paper Towns. Yeah, I mean it's
it's a cottage industry, and if you strike lightning once, then why not try going there again? I mean, the worst case scenario, depending on how much money you make, you're going to make at least 3/4 and then 2/3 until you Police Academy 5'd yourself. And
which one was that?
Miami Beach.
Was that City Under Siege was 6.
Yeah, City Under Siege was 6, and then Mission to Moscow was 7.
The straight to video one.
No, that one got limited theatrical.
No, it was nowhere near me in the theater. I remember that because I was a Police Academy fan.
I could tolerate Miami Beach.
See, then I don't.
And I did, and
I'm a Citizens on Patrol guy.
Oh, well, yeah, that was pretty much.
And I actually don't mind. What's the third one? Back in Training. Back in Training.
The one with Mauser.
Basically, I like anything with Bobcat Goldthwait.
Yeah.
And as long as Mahoney's still around.
Their first mission was great.
Like I said, Bobcat Goldthwait makes it good.
And Citizens on Patrol, which really, if you think about it, like that one has like probably the warmest place in my heart of all the Police Academy movies. But then you think about it and you're like, really? David Spade is a teenager?
Skateboarder, no less.
Skateboarding teenager?
Skateboarding with Tony Hawk.
Had the Bones Brigade in it.
Oh my god.
And then Sharon Stone, who was just terrible.
And when you're a kid, Leslie Easterbrook is like one of the hottest women on earth, and you realize she wasn't all that hot. She was.
It didn't take. It took until she was in Rob Zombie's movies to realize how flawed she was.
Oh my god! I like the fact that some of these characters exist to have one lame gimmick, like the person who radio woman who speaks softly. Hooks. She speaks softly until the very last thing she says is "Don't move, dirtbag." That's her whole hook. That's it.
Well, yeah, there you go. Her name's Hooks.
Terrible.
Sweet Chuck, he's the one with glasses. House is the fat guy.
Of course.
Hightower's the tall guy.
Tackleberry loves guns.
I mean, that movie was all... How many characters, how many caricatures of characters can we throw in? I mean, short of having Yakov Smirnoff in it.
Which I'm shocked he never showed up. And he wasn't in Mission to Moscow, you sure?
No, that was Ron Perlman of Hellboy fame.
Before Hellboy. Much before. That was around Beauty and the Beast time.
That was well post Beauty and the Beast, I think.
Oh, he was in between things. Before he started working with
that
French director.
Before he started acting.
Yeah, good old Ronnie Pearl.
Yeah, it's just... I don't know. I mean, you know me. I like something that... If it doesn't lift you up, then I at least want it to be smart.
Okay.
And this was a movie, Match Point, that... did not lift me up. It did not lift me up until... until that moment that I realized that I am a dumb mother effer.
Well, I beg to differ, but I'm glad that it redeemed itself at the last minute.
You know, and
stay of execution, if you will.
And it went from being, you know, why did I watch this to, that's why. Because I'm not as smart as I think I am.
Well, who is really? That said, you'll never watch it again.
Yeah, I mean,
not likely.
What number movie was this?
I'm gonna look it up right now. I have it right up here. No, that's.
Dogs are on edge tonight.
I'll tell you. Something. You guys, you don't even know what you're barking at.
They don't.
They probably just heard me click the keyboard, they assume. Alright.
This is recently added.
This is number 453.
453. So I'm trying to see where my 453rd favorite movie is. And I'm sure it will be nowhere near as clever as this.
Oh.
Or it'll be something exceedingly clever that for whatever reason I do not
Perhaps it's
like.
a Hallmark film.
No, it won't be. I think Ice Sculpture Christmas was as high as Hallmark movies go for me.
Okay.
I can't think of another one that I've enjoyed quite as much.
Which is faint praise at best.
Flick Chart is taking its sweet time, but
okay.
You know, it's funny that we were talking about Watchmen because Matthew Good showed up in this movie.
It's all good.
And I didn't realize that he was the likable character in Belle.
Oh yeah,
the movie that I saw.
I saw that. I saw it last year.
Yeah, I just saw.
Didn't see it with me.
I think I saw it early this year. I saw it on the DVR.
Saw it with Miss Lily. Yeah, it was alright.
453 for me
is.
Scrolling. Garden State.
Oh, hey. They're close.
One not far off from one you've had.
Alright. Well, yeah, the Garden State.
You missed it being G.I. Joe the movie by one. That was 454.
That's a terrible film with one good scene.
The Sergeant Slaughter scene?
No! Wait.
This is for Duke.
Oh, that I was thinking the live action one.
No. This is the animated one.
Okay. No, see, that one has kind of a nostalgia bump, so I'll give you that.
It's one of the finest adaptations of the works of H.R. Giger into...
Duke's gonna be okay! Woo!
And then just after this is the Sir Ben Kingsley, Bill Pullman movie, You Kill Me.
See, that's an example of another movie I wish I liked more. Was not crazy about it.
And that I think I just liked because it was Ben Kingsley doing comedy.
Possibly.
And
I always like to see Tia Leone get work.
Yeah.
Okay. We're going to leave it at that. Music provided by Austin Osgram. To hear more, you can go to his SoundCloud, Facebook, or YouTube page. Just put in Austin Osgram. That is Austin like the city, Oz like the wizard, and Graham like the cracker. Special shout out goes out to Engineer Travis, without whom you would not be hearing this podcast. We will leave you with a song. Scott.
First, thank you for having me for the last year of podcasts.
I look forward to having you.
I did not expect that we would be through 50 of these by now.
Well, close. We're at 48. We'll get there.
But
thank you for joining me on this trip.
I very much enjoyed it. I'm excited to hear what is the plan still to have Ben do the theme song next year?
Actually, maybe bringing Austin back.
Oh, okay.
I've been talking to that gentleman, so we'll see what happens. I'm not putting anybody on a deadline, honestly. I just, whoever provides me music, that's who I'm going to use.
The thing that stuck with me about this movie musically is that there was a lot of opera when I was looking at the credits. I make you let me sit through the credits with every movie that you make me watch.
That's fine. Rob's the same way.
Even when we go to the movies, I want to see through everything. One of the reasons is because one of the last things that they show you is who does the music in the movie, and that's one of the last things that you get to see.
So you saw
this was just packed with the music of operatic singer
Italian names
Enrico Caruso, which reminded me of Enrico Palazzo.
Okay.
Familiar with his works?
Sounds familiar.
Why don't you look up his performance of the national anthem in a very memorable game between the California Angels and the Seattle Mariners, and the Queen of England was there for that game. And his performance of the national anthem, par excellence, one of the finest performances in the history of modern sports.
All right. Enrico Palazzo. National anthem?
Yes.
All right. We'll find it.
You are in for a treat.
All right. Well, so is everyone else, because that's what we're leaving with. And until next time.
See you next year.
Yes. We will bid you adieu.
Oh, say, can you see?